Mchangizi here with your Vino Optics Science Moment. Today I'm going to talk about blockchain and Bitcoin and also talk about censorship. And there's some strange parallels between these two worlds, and they're in some sense going in opposite directions. Let me start with blockchain. One of the exciting things about Bitcoin, and everybody's a lot of you don't really understand exactly what it's about, but the basic idea is how can we get it so that there's no central authority that can be in charge and has to control our money, where the government can come in and, for example, confiscate a bank account. Banks are in charge. They keep track of all the transactions that are going on, for example, your credit card companies. But what if you could just distribute all of the information about who transacted Bitcoin to somebody else? All of these transactions of cryptocurrency occurred out there in the public in such a way that nobody could be in charge of it all. It was out there, but it was still keeping track in a very careful cryptographic way that no one could break of who spent Bitcoin and gave it to somebody else. This would be distributed or decentralized, and thereby retaining more power in the people. That's some of the political motivations behind cryptocurrency. Now, there's a lot of problems with it really working as one sort of romantically thought it would. There's a lot of issues there. Now, in the world of free speech and reputation, we have something that's very similar, and it's going in the wrong direction. Right now, censorship, in the midst of this COVID stuff that's going on, and the hysteria and the lockdowns, sneaking up on us from sideways is big tech censorship. Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and is often censoring certain kinds of opinions, and this is very dangerous stuff. This is, in fact, the opposite direction. In some sense, within the regular currency world, regular old capital world, there's this idea that we can go from centralized to decentralized blockchains. Whereas in the social currency, the social capital world, the social capital, which is reputation and why, who has higher reputation, who loses reputation by virtue of saying false things all the time. Historically, that was done in a decentralized way, analogous to the blockchain and cryptocurrency. It was done in your tribe by having gossip about, hey, Mark said these really trash-talky things to John, and it turned out Mark was wrong. And the social narrative within the community kept track of all of these gains and losses in social currency. That was done in a decentralized manner, and now folks are trying to go in the other direction. They're trying to say, let's have centralized control about what people are saying and whether it's right or wrong via fact checkers. Now, this is extremely dangerous in the realms of free speech. You don't want to have centralized authorities deciding what's true and what's not true. This is deeply dangerous. And I think what needs to be understood is the degree to which, as messy as social networks and the social narrative are, and they are messy, they're still infinitely better than allowing central authorities to do it. What one has to appreciate is that, of course, they were even better before Twitter and social media, which is often messing things up. We have anonymous actors. We are designed to handle hundreds of people in our social community, having stories that keep track of their reputations over time by virtue of the stuff that they say that's true and the degree to which they're disagreeable and turn out to be wrong and trash talk all the time. These sorts of things are kept very well in small communities. Now, there's a lot of things that are going wrong with these sorts of narratives that we've sort of evolved to be able to keep track of once you expand it to having 1 billion people in the social network. But even so, it's a lot more dangerous to have individuals in charge. In this COVID, since March of 2020, in fact, some of the ways that social narratives went wrong by virtue of being an echo chamber of social media, which is connecting more than 1 billion of us all into one, it started echoing and creating a false narrative that COVID is the most dangerous thing ever, and nothing else should be even included in the utility calculus. That was very dangerous, and that's why we're here today. But I want to ask you, is it the case that big tech censorship is helping fight that? No. To the extent that you find censorship in this case, it's censoring any of the viewpoints that are saying, look, we have to calm down and treat the utility calculus and treat all of the costs on all sides. As bad as social networks can be sometimes in regulating reputation and the truth, it's still infinitely better than allowing centralized governments or big tech organizations to do it. And that was your Vino Optics Science Moment.